AnnTalman is our special guest coming to us live and direct from New York City, Broadway television, film, actress, singer, comedian, documentary filmmaker, and star and creator of this incredible show, The Shadow of Her Smile, which is an incredible one-woman show she does, paying homage to her incredible friendship and relationship with the incomparable Hollywood legend, the one and only Elizabeth Taylor. That's right. They had a friendship for many, many years. And Anne does this incredible show. Matter of fact, she has a show coming up in New York City at 54 Below. We're going to talk about that and so much more. But Anne is a brilliant actress unto herself. Anne was on Seinfeld, Murphy Brown, yes, Law and Order, a couple of times as well, Good Advice, and General Hospital, Serendipity, of course, you know that movie as well, Limitless, Wall Street, the original Wall Street with Michael Douglas. Anne has done it all and continues to do it all, and it's my pleasure to welcome her to the show. Actor, singer, storyteller, award-winning documentary filmmaker, four-time Broadway veteran. She joined Actors Equity with co-star Elizabeth Taylor back in 1981 when she landed the plum role in Little Foxes, playing Elizabeth Taylor's daughter on Broadway. The show traveled the world for 18 months, and their loving friendship lasted the rest of Liz Taylor's life. Anne's new cabaret show, Elizabeth Taylor and the Shadow of Her Smile, is directed by Bistro and MAC Award winners Lina Koutrakos, and also musical direction by Alex Rybeck, also a 54 Below favorite. The show is an evening of story and song about Anne and Elizabeth's amazing bond. It's filled with hilarious and touching stories that only Anne can tell, woven with Broadway and Great American Songbook gems. Anne's imitation of Elizabeth, and we might even hear some of that tonight. Last night we had Heather Massey on, and she brought Hedy Lamarr to us. Maybe tonight Anne will bring us a little Elizabeth Taylor. Well, keep your fingers crossed. Now, if you close your eyes, you'll swear they're together again when you do hear them. AnnTalman, Elizabeth Taylor, and The Shadow of Her Smile plays 54 Below, which is at 254 West 54th Street in New York City, actually on Tuesday the 13th, Wednesday the 14th of September, 7 p.m. I'm going to tell you how you can get the tickets as well. If you've never been to the incomparable 54 Below, it's a great place. I've emceed concerts there for friends, and I've been a guest there. 54 Below Broadway Supper Club presents a special encore engagement of AnnTalman, Elizabeth Taylor, and The Shadow of Her Smile. 2 performances coming up as well. It's going to be really, really something special. As I mentioned, Anne is a veteran actress and a Broadway star, and a wonderful documentary filmmaker as well. Here's a wonderful shot of her, Elizabeth Taylor, of course, in the center. We're going to talk about the show that she's got coming up. And again, she was in Little Foxes with Elizabeth Taylor, playing her daughter on Broadway. Pretty special. They've known each other for a long, long time, up until Ms. Taylor's passing. And it was a wonderful friendship and a respect for each other's talent. There she is with Elizabeth Taylor, Anne and Elizabeth there as well. And you see the resemblance, too, with Elizabeth Taylor on the left and Anne on the right. Anne is a wonderful singer and performer and entertainer. And again, you've seen her on television, all kinds of incredible award-winning movies, on stage, and so much more. And she's joining us right here, right now on the Jim Masters Show live series. Thanks for joining us. Welcome, everybody. I'm your host, Jim Masters. A pleasure to have you guys here. We always have a good time. If you had a long day today, thanks for joining us. Sit back and relax. Enjoy the wonderful entertainment, great conversations, interactivity too. Gang, if you would like to chat in the JMS live Lovity chat room, just subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's open and available right now. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Doesn't cost anything. And when you do that, you have an opportunity to be a part of the JMS Lovity chat room, which is real cool. That is the chat room right now that's open and live, where you can chat amongst yourselves. Sometimes we might even sprinkle comment or two on the screen if we are able to do that. And don't forget, if you'd like to support the show, and it really does help us when you do, you can do a super chat, super emoji, super sticker. That is something available in this chat room when the chat room is open and live. You can also do that at any time in super thanks. There's a little heart icon underneath every single episode of our series, over 750 episodes of our series that we've done. And every single one of them has this little heart icon underneath. You can click that and you can help support what we're doing here at the Jim Masters Show live series as well. So without further ado, we welcome everybody, our lovely squad, everybody that's watching all around the world. And we do have viewers that watch from the United States and Canada, Europe, Africa, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, all across South America, Argentina, Venezuela, Brazil, Peru, Mexico, Bermuda. We hear Japan. We hear from all over the world, and we welcome every single one of you. Wherever you're watching, whatever the time zone is, you're always welcome here at Lovity Hall, as we call it, and the Jim Masters Show Live. So without further ado, let's welcome our special friend and our special guest, Broadway veteran, television, film, stage actress, writer, producer, comedian, documentary filmmaker, and you thought I was busy. The incomparable AnnTalman is here. Ann, welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live. It's great to have you here today.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I it's amazing all over the world. Hello, world.
Yeah.
Gosh.
That's what it is. Yeah, I know. We have an international audience and we're very interactive with them, which I love doing. It's something I've always loved to do. You know, in my professional work on TV and radio, I love to be interactive. I love to celebrate people and bring people together. And you like to do that too, right? You do that. You've done that for years on stage, on television, in film. That's something that's near and dear to your heart, isn't it?
Yeah, especially live theater or filmed before a live audience. That's my favorite. Which is why I had so much fun doing Seinfeld and Murphy Brown, and because it's a dialogue. You
Yes.
feel the energy, and it's a back and forth. Film is different, but
especially, you know, it's really a back and forth when you're on a comedy like Seinfeld, you know, especially when you're in bed with George Costanza.
Yeah. Yes.
Talk about dialogue. There she is,
God.
gang. There she is on
Dinosaur.
Seinfeld. And tell us about that scene for people that may, oh, yeah. Oh, that's her. Yeah, that's Ann. She was on Seinfeld, and there she is with Costanza in this scene. Tell us about this scene, and what was it like being on Seinfeld? I mean, that was really...
Well, oh gosh, oh, there I am. Well, it was the
You look
episode.
great.
It's
What a way to start an episode of the Jim Masters Show, huh? With this scene. That'll perk everybody up.
It was season 3, and it's called The Good Samaritan. And
yes,
funny
episode.
My character, well, one of the running themes was every time somebody sneezes, they say, "You are so good looking," instead of "God bless you." And I sneeze. I'm one of Elaine's friends, and I go out to dinner. My husband and George and Elaine, and I sneeze, and George says, "God bless you," because my husband doesn't, and then he and I have an affair. And oh my gosh! And Jason directed the episode.
Jason Alexander, who played George Costanza. Yes.
And I auditioned for him, and I got it. And the very next day, we started rehearsing. So it was really exciting. And it was just one of the best experiences of my life.
What was it like? So you're on Seinfeld, this, beloved series on NBC. How did that change things for you? I mean, you were already an actress. You already had a great career. But how did being on a show like that sort of bump up the lights a little bit for you?
Well, it's funny because I had just arrived in LA the week before for pilot season. And it was my first audition, and I got it. And it just really gave me a momentum. And the other thing about it was that Michael Richards, who plays Kramer, and I fell in love and actually were a couple for 3 years. and and so that changed my life a lot too. And we're still friends, and he's a wonderful, wonderful person. And I got to know a lot of the Seinfeld people. And then the very next week, I got a Murphy Brown. So I think it helped my confidence a great deal.
Yes, the Murphy Brown. I mean, that's another. There you are. You it
Yeah,
looked like your confidence was definitely in order in that episode.
it was
Uh,
Law's
Candace
class.
Bergen, terrific. She's
Yeah,
amazing.
it's when she was expecting, and she was in Lama's class with Eldon. And I was in Lama's class with her, and she kept trying to steal my technique of breathing. Oh my God. It was so much fun.
Do you
And
remember the technique? Was it?
and I've never had a child, so it was I did the best I could.
But
And
you're ready if ever, and I've seen calls for that.
yeah, and I made friends on that lifelong friends. And
Yeah, don't doubt
and
it.
it's funny that you talked about General Hospital, because my character is in witness protection, so I could come back. So
That's right. Tell us about being on General Hospital. That you and I were just chatting moments ago. We were talking about readers and things of that nature, and you're talking about how you love to memorize and the amount of
yes,
dialogue that is on soap operas. The scripts are very thick, and there's because they're shooting several days and ongoing scenes. Tell us about the role on General Hospital that people may
oh,
remember. What was like? What's it like being on that soap opera
oh, it
or
was
daytime
wonderful.
drama?
Wonderful. That was in 1997, and I was on for a year, and I was a recurring. I was the mousy nurse Rebecca Chase, who got Monica Quartermain fired, had an affair with Dr. Dorman, and had a cat fight with Brenda, and then Dr. Dorman was murdered, and I was a suspect, but I knew who did it, and so that's why Jax put me in witness protection.
A sweet face like that on the screen doing that, huh?
It was fun. And
Uh,
Tony Watkins was Dr. Dorman, and he's just so terrific. So and
wow.
everyone on that show was just so good to me. And what's funny is that it was one of Elizabeth's favorite soap operas, Elizabeth Taylor.
Yes.
And she was on it when we did the Little Foxes in LA at the Amundsen. They asked her to be on General Hospital, and she played the Countess.
I remember that. Remember that? That was
Yeah,
a big thing when they were adding Elizabeth Taylor to General
yes.
Hospital.
And
That was
Elizabeth used to love to get in her contracts that she could keep her wardrobe. So all those gowns that you saw her, if you were alive back then in 1981 and saw her on General Hospital, she kept all those gowns.
did she?
Yeah, yeah. And that's when
Wow.
Luke and Laura, were on. And
Oh, yeah. Right. That was a big thing, the Luke and Laura wedding. Everybody was yeah. That
yeah.
was a huge storyline for that series.
Well, and my grandmother, it was my maternal grandmother's favorite soap opera. She took her daily doctor ordered naps around watching General Hospital. And so when Elizabeth was on, she got coffee mugs that said, "I love GH," and sent them to my grandmother.
That is so cool, huh?
Yeah. She was very generous. I talk
Wow.
about that in my show.
All
Elizabeth
the time.
was so thoughtful and generous.
Yeah.
She would just do things like that. So,
Absolutely. Law
and
and
when
Order, you've had an opportunity to
I
do Law and Order as well, right?
yeah, yeah.
Isn't that
I went
great?
twice, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, Law and Order. That's I did Law and Order as well. They film it down in Chelsea Piers area there in the
Oh,
city in New York. Good Advice as well.
that was fun.
Yes.
I was gonna be a recurring patient. That was with Shelley Long, and
Yeah, on
it was
CBS. Right.
it was a pilot, and they loved my character. She was a therapist, and I played a husband and wife who needed marriage counseling because they kept trying to bump each other off. and and they it was so much fun that they were going to make me recurring, but it didn't get picked up. So, but anyway, that was a lot of fun.
But you were there. Yeah, you were in it still. And also, I mean, incredible movies, Limitless. I mean, tell us about being in that movie.
Well,
That's an iconic film.
yeah, I was Robert De Niro's sort of like secretary, and you really don't end up seeing very much of me, but in the movie he's delivered a severed hand, and I'm the one who brings it in to the office. That's my big thing. But my one of my favorite little movie roles was Serendipity. I play the Bloomingdale's salesgirl at the very beginning of the whole movie when they fight over the gloves. It sets up the whole movie, and it was so much fun. We shot it in Bloomingdale's from when it closed until the next morning when it opened again, and it was really neat.
Yeah, the whole run of the play. I did something similar. It was a PC Richard and Son, which is the major TV
Ah,
and appliance chain in the New York area, and they did the same thing. We it was an overnight shoot. They
yep.
closed the store, and then we just all night long we were filming, which was cool. But that was a great film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really great.
And Limitless, Wall Street too. You're known for being on Wall Street with Michael
Yeah.
Douglas. That
Yeah.
and
That was my first film, thanks to Risa Brayman and Billy Hopkins, who cast it, and I knew from theater. And I had a really great role, and I shot like 7 weeks. My part got cut because some of the scenes, I was in scenes with Sean Young, and a lot of those scenes didn't end up in. But I'm almost always beside Michael Douglas, even if I don't have lines. If he's on camera, unless he's um, but if he's in a business situation, I'm by him at all times. It was amazing.
that
So,
is so fantastic,
and
you
he
know?
did the "Greed is Good" speech in one take.
Really?
Yeah, he did the
Th-
master in one take, and it was amazing. And I think that speech won him the Oscar too.
mm,
Yeah.
that's incredible. Again, the great movies that you've been in as well, and a lot of other iconic productions. But there is this wonderful and rare and unique friendship you forged with the incomparable Elizabeth Taylor. Tell us about how that actually happened, and your show that you do
Yeah.
celebrates her in such a unique way. This goes way back, right?
Yes. Well, I was cast in well, I started auditioning like in November, December of 1980. And for my final two callbacks, I had to go to Lillian Hellman's apartment on Park Avenue and read for her. She had final casting um, privileges. I
Hmm.
never met Elizabeth till the very first first read through, which was January 20th, 1981. And from the moment we met, um, what was so amazing is she had a sense that she was going to mother me. I mean, I played her daughter, and we developed a friendship, but she was like a mentor and a mother. And I had, in fact, lost my mother very suddenly in a car crash
Mm.
right before I got the part. And it was a miracle in a way that Elizabeth Taylor just picked up the ball and mothered me but she mentored me. And it was life-changing. She also taught me, well, she taught me a lot about setting the tone in a production, because she was gracious and generous. She was a complete pro. It was her first play. We joined Actors Equity together, same day and everything. And she worked really, really hard. We were the first Broadway play to rehearse on a Broadway stage during the rehearsal process. And that's because Elizabeth insisted on that, so that she could make sure she was projecting to the last row, since she's mostly was a film actress. And I admired that about her. And she took a wonderful interest in me as a person, and in my family. And I can't say enough about her. And then over the years, while she was alive and even after she passed, I would often be approached by people to write books about her or talk about her. And I would say, no, I'm not interested. She's my friend. And then as soon as I'd hang up, I'd call her and tell her what had just happened. And she used to get such a kick out of that. But I always, I guess the germ for me to have written this solo piece.
I think you froze there a little bit, Ann. Your computer froze on your end. It looks like that freeze frame looks like she's just about to sing something, doesn't it? Like she's in the mid-sentence of a song. I think your Wi-Fi froze up there. Sometimes when you're live, anything can happen. So that's one of the things about doing shows live. Anything can happen. So I think you're frozen there a little bit, Ann. You have to check your Wi-Fi or just go in and out of the studio if you can. And, I think what we'll do is, while she sort of in mid-sentence there, while she is figuring that out, because again, it looks like her Wi-Fi went down. Yeah, it did. We actually have a little bit of a sizzle reel we're going to show you from this amazing show, Elizabeth Taylor, The Shadow of Her Smile, that has been receiving rave reviews and critical acclaim. There it is there. There is Ann. She actually is going to be in New York City at 54 Below in September with more performances. And you can see on the screen where you can get tickets and everything else. But in addition to her wonderful friendship with Elizabeth Taylor, she also had an opportunity to work with veterans. I mean, there's Maureen Stapleton as well, another incredible, iconic actress. And somebody that I've always admired, Sada Thompson, another brilliant actress as well, who you may remember who starred as Kate Lawrence in the ABC Aaron Spelling drama TV series, Family. She played the mom with Christine McNichol and Meredith Baxter Burney, James Broderick, Quinn Cummings, Gary Frank. And that was a great series as well. Well, we've got a clip here. We've got a little clip we're going to show. And this will give you some nice sampling of what her show is like, where she really celebrates this extraordinary and rare friendship that she had all the way up until the passing of Elizabeth Taylor. And again, that's why it's called Elizabeth Taylor, The Shadow of Her Smile. This is going to be an encore performance, actually, that she's doing on stage. People couldn't get enough of it, and they wanted it back. So she's going to be on stage doing it. And while Ann is figuring things out on her end with her computer, she'll just have to get back into the studio. Let's show you that sizzle reel right now. It's pretty cool, and it'll give you a little sampling of what her show is all about. Take a look.
Make someone happy. Make just one someone happy. Make just one heart the heart you sing to. In an interview with James Grissom in 1991, Elizabeth said, "Oh, everything fades away. Everything passes. You can survive anything if you choose to do so. In London, I kept a journal. I would sit backstage, cross-legged on the floor, writing with my favorite fountain pen. And one day, Elizabeth looked down at me and said, "Annie, that had better not be about me." And I wait for the heart of a little boy sailor to come, break the bottle, and help me be free. Elizabeth and I often fell in love with our co-stars. And when he asked me to the Emmys, I called Elizabeth immediately. Elizabeth, "Oh, Annie, I'll set it all up. A private viewing at Saks in Beverly Hills. Champagne and everything. Oh, do you want to borrow my jewelry?" Because I love to be married. Any regrets? Nope. I'm unregrettable. I loved each one. In my way. At the time. After Burton, there was Senator Warner. And finally, Larry Fortensky, and she was absolutely unregrettable. And if I had to choose again, I would still choose you, and you, and you, and you, and you times two, and you, and you. Love is the answer. Once you've found it, build your world around it. Make someone happy. When you make someone happy, you will be happy too.
Wasn't that something? That was really, really something absolutely special. And Ann is back with us. Welcome back, Ann.
I'm sorry about that. I'm on my phone. Oh,
Your computer sort of conked out
oh
there?
boy. Yeah, my internet. I'm actually in Virginia.
Oh, you are? You're the
Yes,
second
I'm in
guest that we
Charlottesville,
thought was in
Virginia.
New York, but's in Virginia.
Yeah, I'm in Virginia.
What's going on in
and just
Virginia?
all of a sudden, the internet went off. So I immediately thought of what my dad, who was a colonel in World War II, used to say, just try to relax. Remember, even D-Day was delayed on account of weather. There's
Right.
always a plan B.
There's always
There's a
plan B.
workaround.
Yes, there is.
So, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
So are you having to walk around the room to find a good signal? Is that what you're doing?
Well, yeah. Am I okay?
Yeah, there's just a little bit of a delay, just a little bit, but you're okay. Yeah, you're okay.
All right. Well, thank you. You know, these things happen in live theater.
Yes, they do. Yes, they
Oh
do.
my gosh.
So we just looked at the clip and from The Shadow of
Oh,
Her Smile. I said, let's show that while you were figuring out, the Wi-Fi
thank you.
situation. And
Thank you.
tell us about the show and what the inspiration was
Okay.
for putting together this really special
Yeah.
show.
I I've spent the last 10 years writing solo shows and solo pieces. And I just decided that after the one about the play about my brother, this was the next one I was going to do. So I started out in a workshop, just kind of doing it only as a play without music, because I wanted to dig really deep into the mother-daughter relationship. And then I added music, and the idea of it being a cabaret performance piece. And my dream was always to do it at 54 Below. I'm so grateful that dream has come true. And my director, Lina Koutrakos, and Alex Rybeck and I started working on it in 2019. 'Cause I did the workshop early 2019 as a play, and then I just started working on it as a cabaret and putting it together. The the other thing that sort of informs all of this is my brother passed away in January of 2018, and I was his caregiver until he passed away. And after he did, and I took a little time to just rest, I developed a self study master's degree program for myself to study cabaret and music, uh, because it's really what I do best. And it's what I hadn't really always led with my best foot forward. I always thought, oh, I want to be an actress who sings. And really, I'm a singer comedian who acts. And I just decided I have now, for the first time in my life, a chance to just focus on me. I don't have to care for anybody anymore. I also cared for my father who had Alzheimer's.
Mm.
And that's what started the ball rolling for all things cabaret and music. And I just immersed myself in the world of New York cabaret, and to learn everything about it, to make friends with all the people who welcomed me with open arms. And I started studying with Lina Koutrakos. And then when COVID happened, I just worked even harder on everything. And so Lina and Alex and I would work via Zoom. And then, when COVID settled down, we would work together again. And I would say that I worked on it for 3 years. And it was always my goal to make it a meaningful show about our relationship, not just, a tell all or a name dropping or whatever. And my other goal was to always, whenever I sing, to have a song help move forward the story or the action. Because to me, that's the real beauty of cabaret, if it's done the way I think it should be done, which is you don't just say, now I'm going to sing a song about blah, 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 and then you sing the song. You talk, and then when you sing a song, it takes the audience to the next level. And
Right.
that's what I'm really having fun with. And I discovered that all those years I spent, well, 18 months with Elizabeth on Broadway, and then our friendship until she passed away, I just started to say things that she would say. And I realized that I do an Elizabeth Taylor. I do a good Elizabeth Taylor, because in my solo show about my brother, I play 20 different characters, some with disabilities and
That's
things. And
amazing.
so it was just natural in the cabaret for me to sometimes be Elizabeth. And
Can we hear a little of
I
that
think that that's
now?
one of the
Can you channel Elizabeth right
well,
now for us?
okay. The very first thing she ever said to me, this is also a bit of a backstory. My entire life, starting when I was 4, my mother started it. I I was told that I looked like a young Elizabeth Taylor from National Velvet. And my mother noticed it when I was 4. And every single time the movie National Velvet came on TV, the next day, teachers or people would say, "Oh my gosh, you look like a young Elizabeth Taylor from National Velvet." Always National Velvet. And it was just this thing throughout my life. So when I got the part, it was also another layer of, oh my gosh, it's like destiny, kind of. It's just so incredible. So the very first meeting, the first read through, Elizabeth, and this is in my show, she floated up to me in a silk caftan. She gave me a huge hug. She kissed my cheek, and then she whispered in my ear, "Oh my God, I feel like I'm looking at myself from National Velvet." And that's the first thing she ever said to me. And I just remember I said, "Oh, why, thank you. No one ever said that before," which was totally not true. But I was just so flabbergasted. And then I just throughout the show, like there's a scene in the show where I was writing in my journal backstage in London, and Kitty Kelly was coming out with an unauthorized tell-all at the time, and Elizabeth looked down at me. I was sitting on the floor writing with a fountain pen, and she just kind of went, "Annie, that had better not be about me." And I, being 22 years old, I said, "Oh, it's not, it's about me." And she just kind of looked at me and said, "Oh, I trust you. I trust you." And so there's moments like that. Towards the end, I do a speech as her of an interview that she gave with James Grissom in 1991, which is so beautiful because she talks about how beauty fades, fame fades. What matters is friendship and the time that you spend with the people that you love. And that is the essence of Elizabeth. And so I have other moments where I say things, but those were 2. How'd that go? Did you love?
Oh, how'd that go?
And she, when
What a
she was
laugh you have.
alive,
That's a great
never
laugh.
I never did her well, and my laugh is similar to her. She had a cackle. She would go like that.
No, you
And
have more of where the air goes back in after you're
yeah,
laughing.
yeah. But
Yeah, it's funny.
but she would say, she would say things like, "Oh, Annie, you don't want to look like Betty Davis and whatever happened to Baby Jane." And then she would laugh at herself. And if you ever watch on YouTube the speech that she gave at the 1981 Tony Awards,
Yes.
she was a presenter, but she came out in her purple gown. And before she even gets to the presenting part, she is just so delightful and hilarious. And I watched it over and over, and I realized, oh my gosh, I do Elizabeth all the time. I can, that's when she said the famous Jimmy Needleheimer. And she went, "Oh, Jimmy, I'm sorry," Oh,
That's
and she
amazing.
couldn't read the teleprompter, and she just was like, "Oh, I can't read that thing. I forgot my glasses," and
Here's a great shot of the
she was
group for you.
hilarious. Huh?
Tell us about this shot.
Oh, that was at the Golden Theater during rehearsals. Martha Swope took those amazing pictures. Yeah, and Zev Buffman is in there, and Austin Pendleton, our director.
Oh, yeah, he's been a guest several times on our show. Yeah.
Oh, he's delightful. And I met Austin when I was a cabaret intern at the Williamstown Theater Festival, and I got to sing with Austin, and then I studied with him after that, and that's how he asked me to read for the Little Foxes. So I owe so much to Austin.
To him, yeah.
And
You know,
also, I want to thank Chris Corman
our
for
friend Chris, yes.
introducing us.
Yes, he's the best, isn't he?
Yes, he's Harvey Korman's son.
That's right. He was a guest on our show
I
too.
grew up,
We loved it.
I feel like I grew up with him together separately, you know, because I
He had a
loved his
question too
dad.
while he's here. He said, "Dear Ann, who was one of your Broadway musical idols?" Thanks, Chris.
Julie Andrews, Barbara Cook, Ethel Merman. Oh my gosh, Patti LuPone. I have a lot, but I grew up singing. My mother had all the musical LPs, and I would sing for like 6 hours straight in the basement, along with all the Broadway musical LPs from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. So I grew up, you know, I tell people my singing teachers were Julie Andrews, Barbara Cook, and Ethel Merman, Mario Lanza.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, I just would sing.
You've
I was a singer my whole life, and I didn't always sort of acknowledge it until I decided, you know, what I am is I'm a singer who tells stories.
Who tells stories. A storyteller for sure, absolutely.
And Elizabeth, Elizabeth Taylor loved cabaret. She loved, and I actually, in 1981, I did a show at what was Paulson's, and it's now the Triad. And then I did something in London. She came to both performances, and she even wanted to loan me her jewelry. I was like, no, I don't want to get kidnapped.
That is funny, huh?
Yeah, but she loved cabaret. When we were in Florida, Tony Bennett and Peggy Lee had a show at the Diplomat, and they invited the cast, all expenses paid, and you know,
I was going to say
and I
that
talk about that
in the show as well. You also, of course, the wonderful long-time friendship with Elizabeth Taylor is celebrated in the show, The Shadow of Her Smile. And again, for those joining us late, she played Elizabeth Taylor's daughter on Broadway in Little Foxes. You also had opportunity to work with other legends like Maureen Stapleton.
Oh, yes.
I mean, what was that like as well?
Just one of the finest actresses I've ever been in the presence of. And I loved her dearly. And I had the famous scene in the play. It's called the rain scene, where they're drinking wine. And the scene is Maureen and me and Tom Aldridge, who plays Horace. And it's a famous scene where she basically has a breakdown, Maureen's character, Birdie. And it was just exquisite to experience night after night. When we went to London, she did not come. Seda Thompson did Birdie, and that was amazing. The only reason that Maureen didn't come to London is because, well, the reason is she doesn't fly, and they couldn't figure out a way to get her to London in time for the start of rehearsals. They even looked into like freighters and different things, and
the Queen Mary, whatever it took. But you have that opportunity to also work with one of my favorites, Seda Thompson, who was extraordinary. I mentioned in the beginning of the show that people may also remember her, you know, Lincoln. I mean, all these things that she's done, but playing Kate Lawrence on Family on ABC. Yeah, that was an iconic role for her, and she nailed it. What was it like This picture, when was this picture taken?
London, the London production on
And do you know
stage.
when it was?
1982,
So she
like
had already,
February.
she did Family and Kate
Oh yeah,
Lawrence.
yeah. That
So
was behind her
when you
already.
were holding her hand, did it feel like a little motherly Kate Lawrence was coming through?
Yes, it did. It really
I'm
did.
here with
And
Kate
her
Lawrence.
hands were so soft. Her
And her
skin,
voice,
oh,
yeah.
her
And her
skin
mannerisms,
was
her expression, what she
beautiful.
could do with her
Yes. And her
eyes.
husband, oh, and she had, I think, won a Tony for a play called Wings, I believe. Anyway, her husband accompanied her, and they had the most loving marriage. I just loved being in her presence as well. She went to Carnegie Mellon, and I grew up in Pittsburgh, so we had that too.
That's right. Yes. And she was originally from
Yeah.
Iowa, and then she lived in Southbury, Connecticut, and she passed
Yeah.
at Danbury Hospital there in Connecticut. A brilliant actress. To have an opportunity to work with her, extraordinary. Look at this shot.
Ah, oh my goodness, that's Carnival at the Goodspeed Opera House,
Oh yeah,
and
in
I
East
played
Haddam,
Lily.
Connecticut. Isn't that a great
Yep,
place?
and
Goodspeed
I loved Goodspeed.
by the
It
river
was,
and the bridge, and yeah,
yeah, East Haddam, Connecticut, and
beautiful
it was a
area.
marvelous cast. Alex Corey was in it, and Mark Martino, and the gentleman there, who's leaning
You
on
want to put
the.
the readers on? Do you need the readers?
Oh
Or
God. Oh, all right.
you know why I say that? You know what's funny?
Oh,
Because you must have had them off when you were scrambling to get back on, because you spelled your name AnnTalman.
oh, I spelled my own name wrong. Oh yeah, yeah.
AnnTalman.
Oh my gosh. Well, uh, you know,
Hey,
but
that's that, right?
yeah, that
But
is
we know
not
you're
my
really
last name.
Talman.
That's for the Asian,
Tynan,
audience. It
right,
sounds Asian, but
right. Or Ronan Tynan, the Irish tenor.
yeah.
There's another
The
great
gentleman who
shot. Look at
played.
this.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was 1986, and it was a great production, and we did it for a nice long run too.
What was this? What was this one?
That's Carnival.
That is.
Yeah.
Wow. It's
I'm
incredible.
listening to the heartbeat of one of the puppets. Oh, Oh, okay. That's a musical of the Diary of Anne Frank, and it was called Yours, Anne. A wonderful musical by Enid Futterman and Michael Cohen. And
What was it like playing that role, huh?
that was I played Margot,
Mm-hmm.
the older sister of Anne Frank. Trini Alvarado was Anne.
Yeah.
And then I love that as I'm aging, I've now played the role of the woman that you see behind me, the mother,
Mm-hmm.
Edith Frank. I've played that role at St. Louis Repertory Theater. So it's kind of fun to age into roles because it means you're still alive.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
Look at this one.
which reminds me that, there's Alex Corey and Mark Martino. That was Carnival.
That's a great shot as well.
And I talk about the fact that I was at Elizabeth's 50th and 60th birthday parties. I'm moving around because my cat wants out. Sorry about that.
Oh, what's
Okay.
the cat's name? They love when they see pets. What's the cat's name?
Amber. She's 16. We adopted her during COVID. We rescued her. And but I was at Elizabeth's 50th and 60th birthday parties, and I talk about that in the show too. And she was one of those people who embraced birthdays and didn't mind getting older because it means you're alive.
That's right.
So,
Exactly.
yeah, because for her 60th, she rented Disneyland. And I talk about that in the show. And yeah,
She had a
I met
friendship with Michael Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah, I met him.
Never
I met him.
Neverland.
He was
Yeah.
her escort along with Larry Fortensky that night. And I met Michael while we were riding the teacups.
And did your cup runneth over?
Well, yeah, sure.
Yeah. I'm sure it did.
It was magical. It was.
Look
just
at this
magical.
shot.
Oh, that's the O'Neill, Eugene O'Neill National Playwrights Conference.
And Waterford,
I think that's
Connecticut.
1986. And that's Joe Henderson behind me playing my mother. And that was a play at the O'Neill when Lloyd Richards was the artistic director. And he also ran the theater department at Yale. And
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And our friend John McDaniel was just there.
Yes.
Music director, and he was with the Rosie O'Donnell show. And yeah, look at this shot. What do we have
That's
here?
yours, Anne.
That is.
That's yours, Anne. There's Trini Alvarado. And to Trini's left is David Cady, who was also in Merrily We Roll Along. And then there's Hal Robinson. Let's see. Betty Aberlin, George Guidall, Dana Zeller-Alexis, and I'm forgetting the gentleman who played Dussel, the dentist. Oh gosh, it'll come to me when I try not to think about it.
Yeah, 2 a.m.
Yeah, I'll call you. Oh, that's Carnival again with Mark Martino, who now. Oh, and there's that's the O'Neill with Ken Marks, a wonderful actor. I've worked with wonderful people. Oh, that's a play by Wendy MacLeod. It was called the My House Play with Bill Wise. And Wendy MacLeod is a very well-known playwright now, and she's a professor at Kenyon. And that was her very first play, the My House Play.
That is amazing. Great stories.
Yeah.
Look at this one.
That's when I met Austin, and I was the cabaret intern at the Williamstown Theater Festival. That was the Gershwin Cabaret, a picture of the cast in the Gershwin Cabaret. And you can see Christopher Reeve in the background there.
That's right, yeah.
And Austin,
right,
David
yeah.
Hyde Pierce.
Quite a group in this photo, huh? A lot of talent.
Yeah. And Austin's right in the middle. And just Michael O'Flaherty was the musical director. He's got the tie on, and he went on to be the musical director at the O'Neill. I mean, at the Goodspeed for many, many years. He just retired. And Christopher Reeve, well, there's a moment in my show, the cabaret, about when Elizabeth met my brother Woody, because she was so fascinated. I had told her all about him, and she'd never been around someone like my brother who was very bright but nonverbal and in a wheelchair. But seeing that picture of Chris, my dad brought my brother up to visit for a week at the O'Neill, and we had a show at a place called the British Maid that was a flight of very steep stairs, and Christopher Reeve took one side of my brother's wheelchair and my dad the other, and they carried my brother in the wheelchair up the flight of stairs. So, I mean, to just think about that, Christopher Reeve, who ended up in a wheelchair, but he helped my dad that night. He was like, "Mr. Talman, let me help you," and
that's special. That's a beautiful, beautiful memory.
I actually have a scene about that in my play about my brother. And there's Carnival again.
That's a great shot.
I look 12, I think. Yeah.
But you do look like Elizabeth Taylor in a lot of these photos too.
Well, thank you. I just saw on CNN that if you have a doppelganger, you probably share DNA. So maybe.
I always hear. I've heard a lot of different people over the years, but I'd say the last few years is the actor Kyle MacLachlan from Twin Peaks and Sex and the
Yes.
City.
Yes.
Something about the
You do.
profile. Yeah. It's that
Yes.
English Irish thing. Yeah, and he was in Sex and the City, Desperate Housewives, Twin Peaks, and a lot of shows and movies, and he's still doing his thing. But I always hear Kyle MacLachlan a lot, and I've seen
Yeah.
photos and pair them together, and I see what they're talking about.
You know, which when you were saying
That English
something about,
Irish thing.
yeah, well, and that reminds me that my show on Wednesday, September 14th will be live streamed anywhere in the world. And I would love for your worldwide audience to
The
feel free
Lovities.
to. Yeah. So if you go to the 54below.com website, September, the calendar section, the September 14th performance is live streamed for $25 to get the link. And then you can watch it on your computer, and you can also plug your computer into a big widescreen TV, whatever you want. And you just have to be aware of the time zones. Like it'll be 7 p.m. Eastern time. So wherever you are in the world, just be sure you know the time difference. But I would love it if folks want to see the show
From all
that
over the
way.
country, all over the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. Yeah. So those opportunities are definitely there, gang. Perhaps take advantage of that too. We have some other fabulous shots. Look at this
Oh,
one.
Rita Gardner. That's Rita Gardner, who was Louisa in the Fantastics and many other things. But every young soprano grows up listening to Rita as Louisa on the Fantastics and singing along with her. And we did a musical at the Vineyard Theater, all Bob Merrill songs, and it was called We're Home, with Larry Keith, Rita Gardner, Peter Frechette, and me. And it was directed by Doug Abel at the Vineyard. That was 1985. Oh, yeah, 1985.
Just yesterday,
Rita
right?
Gardner. And Rita is still singing as beautifully as she did when she did the Fantastics. She's an extraordinary performer, just amazing. And my musical director, Alex Rybeck, is also her musical director. So
what a small world, huh?
Yeah.
Look at this shot. What's happening here?
That's that's in the middle. There is Kevin Gear, who has passed away, and on the right, that's Jane Addams, who I think is nominated for an Emmy this year. That's the My House play by Wendy MacLeod at the O'Neill, and I played a tomboy who who was oh gosh. Okay,
I love these reactions.
That's another time. People told me in this that I looked a lot like Elizabeth. It was the wig.
Actually, you could see that too. It's their facial structure, bone structure, the eyes.
And we had the same profile. That's Brian Tarantina, the late Brian Tarantina, who was the MC on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And that's a Bill Bozzoni play at Ensemble Studio Theater. And I played Denise Monte from Staten Island. And she did stand up at the bowling alley, but she would be so nervous that she would wet her pants. So she has a 40D bust. And so I had this big bra that I stuffed with birdseed. And
birdseed, that must have hurt.
Well, there's a scene in the Shadow of Her Smile where Elizabeth is the one who told me, if you're going to stuff your brassiere, use birdseed.
See, and you could have, if people knew that generally, They could have saved a lot of money and years with all that
I
cellulite.
birdseed, because it just really does the trick. So my bra was stuffed with birdseed, thanks to Elizabeth. That's the O'Neill outdoors. Because the thing about the O'Neill is you do play reading, script in hand, and then they had what they called a modular set and props, where it's just things that kind of resemble the real thing. And you never, that's as much of a production value, because the emphasis is always on the play and the writing and the playwright. And it's you're there to serve the play. And that's a really good picture of, oh, there's the very first play I did in 1980, almost as soon as I had moved to New York. Well, I moved to New York September 1979, and I got cast in that in November 1979. And it was called, it's by Edward Allen Baker, who has passed away. Oh my gosh. And it was at Ensemble Studio Theater. It was called What's So Beautiful About a Sunset Over Prairie Avenue. And we just always called it Prairie Avenue.
Yeah. That's cool.
And Matthew Coles is in there, who was married to Christine Baranski, Jan Leslie Harding, Paul Austin. Bruce McVitie is catty corner standing up, and I went on to marry him. He was my first husband. We met in that play and fell in love, and it was it was so well received, it extended for 6 weeks at Ensemble Studio Theater in 1980.
Look at this shot. Wow.
That's a Mac Wellman play that I did at
you look like her there too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird though.
Did you get any discounts on the perfume she used to have? What was the name of that perfume line? I remember the commercials.
Passion and White Diamonds, and
White Diamonds,
and then linen, white linen. But
those were all Estee Lauder. Yeah.
Yeah.
My mother worked 33 years with Estee Lauder. Yeah. I remember those.
For years, my dad and brother would give me, those perfumes for Christmas, birthdays.
So you had a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wear it when I do my show. I wear it for good luck.
You take on the whole.
Yeah. Because I got some on Amazon, and I spritz it before I go on, so that I feel like I've got a little bit of her with me.
Absolutely. You're having a ball in this one.
That's a play reading at Ensemble Studio Theater, which is a wonderful off-Broadway theater. And that's the marvelous Patricia Randall, actress. And she and I were doing a play together there, and having more fun than we should. Yeah. I love comedy. Oh, that's my solo play, I then made into a documentary, and that was at the shoot. That was everybody. That was my brother Woody and the whole crew for the shoot of the documentary. And the way the documentary came about is I never wanted my brother to see the solo play in an audience, because it would be too emotional for him. So I decided to do parts of it for him on a stage and film it. And one of my mentors, Ken Mandel, said, well, Annie, that's a documentary. And so it became a documentary, and we premiered at Tribeca, and we actually qualified for the Oscars that year. So, that's amazing. And you can see, it's a 16-minute documentary, and you can see it on iWomanTV.com. It's the platform that it's on right now. That's beautiful. They included it in a film festival, and then they asked if they could stream it, and so that's where you can watch it.
You're having
And
fun
that's
here too.
a Jeffrey Hatcher play called Murderers at Theater Works Hartford.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's a A.R. Gurney play at the Long Wharf called The Cocktail Hour.
you've done a lot of shows in Connecticut. Yeah.
That was the shoot for the documentary. There's Woody, my brother Woody, in the wheelchair. And we are
Yeah.
in
And
the
what is the name again of the documentary?
Woody's Order.
Woody's Order. Yeah.
And it's on iWoman TV. If you go to film festivals and then 2022 official selections, it's in that. If you scroll down, Woody's Order, you'll see it.
Woody's Order.
And
That was a
that's the
labor of
freight
love, wasn't
elevator.
it?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the freight elevator when we brought
Yeah.
Woody up to the stage.
Hmm.
And my first husband and my husband now are both there. Bruce is in the black, and then
The first and the current are in the same photo?
Yeah.
Wow.
Charlie Holt is the blonde behind the manual wheelchair. They were friends, and they helped me that day that we shot it.
Look at this shot.
Oh gosh, that's Picnic at Center Stage in Baltimore, and I played Irma Cronkite, an old maid.
This
From
just in. Now, do you have a
Irma
preference over
Cronkite.
stage, film, television? Is there one that speaks to you more? Do you love stage? Is theater your first heart
Yeah,
before film and
I
television?
I love the stage. I just love it, and especially comedy. Oh, that's Dangerous Liaisons at the Huntington in Boston. I was Volange, Madame Volange, and I wore a blonde wig, but the blue dress that I was in the scene before was to resemble Hillary Clinton's inaugural gown for the
Oh, yeah.
for on purpose. I mean, it was kind of a choice that the director made.
Very nice. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful
That
shot,
was
as is this one too.
so
And
that was a period piece for sure.
yes, it was. Look at this shot. What's
That's
happening
Rob
here?
Campbell. That's the Cocktail Hour at the Long Wharf. Beautiful set and lighting, and it was a terrific. Oh, okay. And I talk about this in the cabaret. I went to a party at Halston had a party. I mean, I say these names and I think, what?
Yeah,
But
Halston.
Halston had a party for Elizabeth. And at the party, I met Andy Warhol, who's from Pittsburgh. So there's that. And he said, I want to do a photo shoot of you for my magazine interview. So that's the cover of the magazine when my picture's in it. That's Fran Lebowitz.
Oh, yeah.
And Andy signed it. And my photo shoot is in that magazine. And Elizabeth wanted to buy me the gown, the Bill Blass original gown that I wore for the photo shoot. And I was embarrassed and didn't think that I would ever wear it again, which I talk about in my piece. And so she gave me an antique lace gown for my 24th birthday instead. And then there's a very big surprise about what happened with that gown, which I'm not going to give away, but I ended up in a magazine for that too.
Isn't that cool?
But I don't want to give everything away.
No, you don't want to give everything
You have to
away.
come or live stream.
You got to come or live stream. Exactly. Got some more cool shots that we've sort of perused and dug up here. What was happening here?
Oh God.
This is from movie, right?
Wall Street.
Wall Street. Yeah, it looks very Wall Street.
Oh gosh. Well,
that's a great movie. It was a movie with a message for sure. about greed and
Oliver's.
everything.
Oh yeah, agreed. Well, what I was told is that it was the movie was taught at Harvard Business School for years as the example of the height of the 80s,
Yeah.
greed and everything. But Oliver Stone, for some reason, loved those glasses and me in those glasses. And he would make me wear them every scene, and I would find a way to take them off in every scene because I hated them. And it's like, oh my God.
But
It's
they are
like,
very 80s and very sort
oh,
of, yeah,
yeah.
they look
I'm
the
on an
part.
airplane in that scene,
You're on
actually.
an airplane? Yeah. That was a great movie. Wall Street with Michael Douglas. And was Charlie Sheen in that?
Yep.
Yep. Sheen was in that. That was a good
And
movie.
Martin
Guys should
Sheen.
rent it. Yeah. And
Martin
Martin Sheen, his father. Right.
Yeah.
Very good movie. You almost look a little bit like Dreyfus from Seinfeld there. Louis Dreyfus. Yeah. You look a little bit like her there.
Yeah. She's, I admire her so much.
Archaeology of a
Oh, and
Woman. You were in that.
terrific movie that I did with, well, Victoria Clark and, oh my gosh, who's, the other actress's name has just gone out of my head. It was just sort of like a independent film, and it was at a lot of film festivals. It's just a terrific.
That's a great, yeah, Archaeology of a Woman.
Yeah.
Chris Corman chimed in. He says, here's an oddity. Bruce, your first husband, and my ex-stepfather, George DeCenzo, worked on one of the Law and Order spinoffs.
Oh,
Small world, huh?
Yes. Bruce
Wow.
did a lot of Law and Orders and CSI, and yeah, my dad used to say he's awfully good at being bad. He usually played a bad guy, and
Bad guy,
but
he was good at
yeah.
it, right?
But he wasn't. Yeah, he was acting.
Just acting. Yeah, but you love those. You love the comedic parts. That's your thing, comedy.
I
Look at this
do.
shot.
Do you remember the show Kate and Allie?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, Jane Curtin and
That's
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was the very first film before live audience TV show that I ever did. I did a part on
It's
that
a
with
whole
Jane Curtin.
right. It's a whole, and Lucy and Desi sort of pioneered that whole studio
Yes.
audience, 3-camera.
And 3-camera,
shoot.
the Desi
Right.
Lou Productions, and then they trademarked it. They were
Right.
smart. They were the
smart.
first people to use a 3-camera.
To have film rolling on all angles. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
They were definitely ahead of their time with that for sure. Absolutely. What was happening here?
That's a musical I did about Yiddish vaudeville. And I loved that piece. Very few people know that there was a whole kind of genre of vaudeville of Yiddish performers, and on the Lower East Side. And that was all about that. It was a musical.
Look at that.
Memory Lane. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry I don't have any pictures of you. Oh, that's a play I did with Grant Shod, who was on Murphy Brown, and Jenny O'Hara, who you see all the time on TV. But that was a play called Expecting Bobby at Ensemble Studio Theater LA. That, and I'm squinting, that's a play I just did at
Where are
City
your
Theater
readers?
in Pittsburgh. Oh, all right. At City Theater in Pittsburgh, a Corey Thomas play called Citizens Market. And I played Morfina, a Romanian refugee.
Morfina.
Morfina. And I I had accents, and I love accents. They're fun. I love to do accents.
Mm.
That's Citizens Market. Oh, that's from a screening of my documentary with a friend that I made in Pittsburgh, Mark Steidel, who's an extraordinary young man who also was severely cerebral palsied and nonverbal. And we became friends. And he gave a speech on his communicator. It's called a Dynavox. It's a communicator for people who don't have speech. And it's like the one Stephen Hawking's used.
Oh, yeah.
And he gave a speech before the screening of my documentary, which won Best Documentary for Real Abilities Pittsburgh.
That's fantastic.
And Mark, right now, Carolyn Montgomery, who heads up the American Songbook Association, she and I and Mark's mother and another wonderful young man named Andrew Burbank and his mother, Chris Burbank. Andrew has cerebral palsy also. We're working on an outreach program for music education for to particularly reach the kids with special needs in the New York public school districts.
That is beautiful. That's a beautiful thing to do.
Yeah.
There's a nice shot too.
That's Pittsburgh Real Abilities with Catherine Spitz Cohen, who is the executive director of Film Pittsburgh.
Having fun here.
Oh my goodness. That's like oh gosh, I was just being silly for a theater
Which is
company
good.
called
Silly
The
is
Clack.
good. Silly is good.
Yeah.
Right? The Clack.
I'm definitely silly. I talk about that in my piece.
You talk about your silliness?
Yeah, because Elizabeth and I would have slumber parties and watch old movies and giggle and just be silly like that all the time. That was Easter Sunday in London in 1982, taken with my
Taylor?
Kodak in camera.
Instamatic, yeah. With the
Easter brunch.
With the flash cube that goes on top, and you only get 4 flashes per cube, and then you'd have to take the cube off and put a new cube on, and you get 4 more flashes. Remember those? Yeah. So that's Elizabeth Taylor and AnnTalman. They're on Easter Sunday.
And that was at Elizabeth's townhouse in London during the 6 months that we played London. I used to spend weekends with her, and
that's incredible.
That's my favorite picture.
Are you still in touch with? And of course, here in Little Foxes again. For those joining late, she played her daughter on Broadway, Elizabeth Taylor's daughter, in Little Foxes, which was quite an honor. And
there's Novella Nelson, and there's I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, right in the middle there. Yeah, absolutely. And Anna's a brilliant actress and also singer and documentary filmmaker. You like the documentary filmmaking, huh? Isn't that great?
Yeah, it was a terrific experience, and I did all the film festivals.
Now, didn't Woody's Order end up on PBS WQED in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, in Pittsburgh. Yeah,
that's the home to Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood too.
I know, and that's
did you get to see the neighborhood?
Yeah,
they used to keep it. They used to keep it in there. Betty Aberlin, you mentioned her name. Yeah.
She was Lady Aberlin, so I've worked with her, and Mr. Rogers was
Fred Rogers,
a wonderful,
special,
wonderful man. Yeah.
Yeah. Something.
But you asked me, do I still keep in touch with Elizabeth's family? Is that
is there any like involvement with? Do they know about the show? Have they come? Is there any connection still with the family?
I'm very dear friends with Kate Burton, who at one point was one of Elizabeth's stepdaughters, of course, when she was married to Richard Burton. And I haven't really stayed in touch with Elizabeth's children, but I'm going to reconnect with them because I'd love to take the show to Feinstein's in LA, and I'd love for them to all come, particularly because I talk about Elizabeth's having co-founded AMFAR, the American Foundation for AIDS Research. She was the first person to stand up for her gay friends who had
Mm.
AIDS and just AIDS awareness and everything. And now her grandson, Liza Todd's son, runs the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation. So I really want to be in touch with all of them because I do a little section of a tribute to that aspect of Elizabeth's life.
That's incredible. Gang, here is the information if you want to learn more. Our very special guest is Broadway veteran, television, film, stage actress, singer, comedian, documentary filmmaker, creator, and star of AnnTalman, Elizabeth Taylor, The Shadow of Her Smile. This is an encore performance, sold out last time, and everybody wants her back in the Big Apple, New York City, 54 Below. Encore performances, September 13th or 14th at 7 p.m. And there's streaming opportunities available as well. Here's a direct link, actually, to 54 Below, to this specific event. Get your tickets before this sells out fast too. Again, somebody that's watching this 6 months from now, this will have already been passed. But still, for those watching live, the opportunities are there. There's Ann's complete website for keeping updated on all the other cool things that she's working on and doing. But this is really something very special, The Shadow of Her Smile, and really, again, sort of really immortalizing the beautiful and long friendship, collaborative as well as professional and personal friendship with Elizabeth Taylor all these years. Very special.
Yeah.
I imagine when you found out that she passed, that must have been a very tough day for you.
Yeah, because people, it's almost, well, again, it's in the show. People reached out to me, strangers, and all of my friends, as if my own mother had just died. And
Right.
again, because my mother died when I was 20. But when Elizabeth passed, people felt the urge to touch down with me as if I had lost my mother, which was extraordinary. And I was sad, but her health had really
Declined.
declined, and I wanted her to be at peace too. So
Your phone probably blew up and rang a lot that day too for a
it
while.
did. It did. And email and all that.
Like you
Yeah.
lost a
It
family
was
member.
March 23rd, 2011.
Yeah. Yeah. Hard to believe that long ago, huh?
Yeah.
Time really flies. But you're loving it. You're loving what are some other things you're excited about that are coming up that we could look forward to as well in addition to this?
I'm going to be I fly to Naples, Florida on October 17th to start rehearsing Steel Magnolias at the Gulf Shore Playhouse, and I'm going to play Weezer,
Oh,
who
wow.
is the Shirley MacLaine role in the movie. She's the curmudgeon, you know. And I'm so excited. I can't wait. That's going to be so much fun. And then I'm working on a book of all my stories about Woody's Order, having been Woody's Order, which that's a whole story.
Beautiful story. Yeah.
And
Celebrating
I'm
your brother.
going on a retreat to the Prospect House Writers Residency in Bennington, Vermont.
We were just in Vermont for a family wedding last weekend. It's
I
beautiful.
saw on Facebook.
Beautiful.
I've never been to Vermont, but
I'm
I'm gonna.
beautiful.
I just got a residency for a week to work just on finishing up my manuscript of the book Woody's Order, because I am Woody's Order, which is my brother. He convinced my parents to create to have try again to have another child so he wouldn't be alone in the world.
Mm.
And his name was Woody. And so when I was born, my mother wrote Woody's order, ! On the bottom of my first picture. And I was always referred to as Woody's order. And
So
that
that's
I
where
would
it comes
be,
from.
yeah. And that,
That's
that
beautiful.
I would be, it was my destiny, because I would always be there for him if anything happened to our parents. And as a child, it was a wonderful fairy tale that I was proud of. And then it came true. My mother died suddenly, and then my father had Alzheimer's, and I became Woody's order.
Not incredible, huh?
Yeah.
Really
So,
beautiful. Really beautiful. I tell you. Amazing stories, and you're obviously enjoying, the ride through the losses, the ups and downs. Just really, really, it's really, really beautiful, and you're obviously touching people's lives in such a deep way through the art, through your performances, with comedic elements sprinkled in as well, which I think is fantastic. So we all need. We got to laugh. A lot of people aren't laughing these days. You got to laugh. And somebody who knew how
thank
to
God for
do
comedy.
that, thank God for comedy, somebody who knew that so deeply and lived and breathed it, who always stops by our show towards the latter part, Mr. George Burns. There he is.
Okay. Can I tell you one quick story?
Oh, that's funny. She
about
puts the readers
Elizabeth?
on. You
Yeah,
put the
sorry.
glasses on. I thought you were going to do a George Burns impression.
I loved George Burns. And as my father got older and older, he resembled George Burns.
Did he really?
And when we were in London, my dad came over. He came to every city that we played. And he came to London, and he came to a show one day in the matinee. And all of a sudden, the intercom, the stage manager backstage said to the cast, "Okay, everybody, we have George Burns in the audience today, so we'll set up the VIP room so that he can come meet you all." And I ran up to Elizabeth and I said, "It's not George Burns, it's my dad." And she said, "I don't care, set up the VIP room anyway for Woods," because that was his first name. So
that is so cool. Well, he's here with a cigar and his red pocket square, and my aunt collected dolls, and it got passed down to me, and he's a collector piece. And he pops on towards the latter part. He said, "You knocked it out of the park tonight." He loved the conversation. He sends you lots of lovity, and he said, "You really do look like Elizabeth Taylor in a lot of those photos."
Thank
and he knew Liz.
Georgie, as
Georgie.
Gracie would say, Georgie.
Who played God in the movies too. Yeah.
I loved him. Loved him.
Here's the
I
information.
met him too.
You didn't meet him. What was it like?
He was amazing. I met him at the Montreal Comedy Festival where he performed.
Yeah. Cool stuff,
And he was just, amazing.
It's George.
A pro.
Absolutely. I hope the show met whatever expectations you had, Ann, and you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you. We chatted for about an hour and a half, and it went by so quickly.
Wow.
Went by quickly.
Sorry about the glitch, but
Oh, no, that was fine. That gave us an opportunity to show the promo piece on your actual show. Gang, if you joined us late, watch the beginning of this show as well, because we had a really beautiful video we showed, which are clips from this incredible show, The Shadow of Her Smile, celebrating her multi-year friendship with Elizabeth Taylor. So we showed that earlier, so that gave us the opportunity. But I hope the show met whatever expectations you had, and you enjoyed the time with me as much as I absolutely have with you, Ann.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You enjoyed it?
Yes.
Fantastic. Excellent. Now you can rest your hand.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Wow.
That's it. Everybody says
the angle isn't too weird, and I hope I wasn't moving it around too much.
Nah,
there.
It's all right.
Hey, I'll take the readers off again. How about that?
That almost was a little Lauren Bacall. Hey, I'll take the readers off now. Your voice dropped an octave. became very confident. Here's the information again if you want to learn about the show that's coming up at 54 Below, which is a great venue in New York City. There it is to get tickets, gang. And of course, there's Ann's website for all kinds of things, AnnTalman. And this was fantastic. Spread the word about our show. It takes a village, and
Oh,
we're going to keep the
yes.
porch light on for you. It was really fabulous having you here, and best of luck with everything. Continued blessings and joy and happiness in your life, and best of luck with the upcoming encore performances of The Shadow of Her Smile. And you're welcome back anytime, my friend.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You take care, okay?
Okay.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
I'll have to put my readers on to turn the phone off.
That's
my
it.
God.
It's a whole new way of doing things, isn't it? It's crazy.
Okay.
Absolutely crazy. Take care, Ann. You be well now. Bye-bye. AnnTalman, who was putting the readers on so she can take herself out. Really a great show, right? Huh? You learned a lot about AnnTalman, this veteran Broadway television film actress and stage actress, and much, much more. We talked a lot about the shows that she's been in, a lot of theater, a lot of films. Wall Street with Michael Douglas, Charlie Sheen, Martin Sheen, that incredible 80s film. Limitless, Serendipity, one of her favorite movies that she's been in as well. You know, of course, that one with John Cusack. She was on Seinfeld, Murphy Brown, Law and Order, Good Advice, General Hospital, and so many others. And also had this iconic long friendship, and she does look like Elizabeth Taylor, with Elizabeth Taylor. And she starred on Broadway as Elizabeth Taylor's daughter in Little Foxes. And there they are, which was really something very special, playing her daughter. There's Elizabeth in the middle. And there's more again about the upcoming show, which is exciting. A great, great venue. I've been on the stage there multiple times, and I've been in the audience there multiple times. 54 Below in New York City. Always a great show there. We thank Ann for joining us. Great spirit, great heart, great talent. And we thank all of you for joining us here on the show as well. Want to let you know we've got some other amazing guests who are joining us. Coming up tomorrow, get ready to laugh, gang. We have somebody that you've seen on all the late night shows, the Today Show, everywhere. John D. Domenico, extraordinary Emmy-nominated actor, writer, and comedian and impersonator. He does an unbelievably funny, I think they say he's one of the best impersonators to do Donald Trump. He does Austin Powers. He does Jay Leno. He does Ben Franklin. I mean, hundreds of different people. Who knows he's going to do tomorrow, who he's going to do tomorrow when he joins us on the Jim Masters Show for lots of laughs. A great show that's tomorrow at the time of this show. Again, our shows are live, so we're talking to the live audience. But that's Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Going to be a lot of fun. He is renowned as a comedian. He's always selling out in Vegas and everywhere else. He's going to be with us tomorrow on the show. Really, really cool. You know who's also joining us this weekend? Loretta Swit, legendary actress, artist, author, animal welfare activist, and Hot Lips hooligan in the incomparable series MASH. For 11 years on MASH. That's right. They did 230 episodes of MASH. The Jim Masters Show has done over 750 in 2 years. Unbelievable. The incomparable. This is something very special. Loretta Swit is with us this weekend on Sunday. Yes, and renowned, acclaimed author, journalist, and biographer James Gavin is joining us on Monday. He's got a new book out about George Michael, the singer, of course, A Life. He's also written biographies, award-winning biographies on Peggy Lee, Lena Horne, Peggy Lee, Chet Baker, and George Michael, and many others. He's an incredible journalist. Lots of New York Times features. I mean, he's been on television. It's just, we don't want to give it all away, but he's coming up as well. So some amazing guests, iconic people coming through the Jim Masters Show here for all of you. All right, gang. Thanks for watching us. We don't say goodbye around here. We say see you later. Take care. We say thank you for all the time. Thanks to everybody for all the great comments. Good to see you, Joseph and Uniclaire there in the Philippines, and Linda and David. Thank you very much. Sending you love there, Uniclaire Mayan in, of course, the Philippines. Gang, you're the best. Thanks for watching the Gym Masters show. We're always having a good time here. And don't forget to love one another, take care of one another, be good to yourself. And we say shalom, slancha, cheers, auf Wiedersehen, hasta la vista, sayonara, ciao, moi loop, and take care and be well. We appreciate all of you. Don't forget, we would love it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That red button there, if you haven't subscribed, boy, it would be so cool if you did. That helps us grow. Then you're also a part of the JMS Lovity family. And when you're subscribed, you can chat in our Lovity chat room. And also leave a comment on our YouTube channel underneath this episode. You're on the channel now. So before you wrap up, drop a comment on the YouTube channel and let us know how much you enjoyed this episode and all the ones that you enjoy. We really appreciate that, and give this episode a nice thumbs up. When you do that, the algorithm takes the episode and blasts it out to even more people around the world. So it really helps our show grow and our series reach more people. We thank you for being with us, gang. We love you all. You guys take care. David, good to see you as well. You're very welcome, my friend. Good to see everybody here on the show. Lots of levity. You take care. Have a good day. And wherever you're watching around the world, whatever time of day it is, see you on the next episode. We'll be right here waiting for you at the Gym Masters Show. Take care and be well. Cheers.